A legacy of conflict and resilience. The partition of India, and the birth of two nations. In the annals of history, few events are as complex and consequential as the partition of India in 1947. This seismic event, which led to the creation of two independent nations, India and Pakistan, and the displacement of millions of people, left an enduring legacy of conflict, trauma, and resilience. The partition and the subsequent First Indo-Pakistani War, fought over the disputed territory of Kashmir, continue to shape the political and social landscape of the subcontinent to this day. The roots of the partition can be traced back to the British Raj, the period of British colonial rule in India. Under British administration, the Indian subcontinent, a vast and diverse landmass, was united under a single political entity. However, the subcontinent was also deeply divided along religious and ethnic lines, with Hindus and Muslims constituting the two largest communities. The Indian independence movement, which gained momentum in the early 20th century, sought to end British rule and establish a unified and independent India. However, as the movement progressed, tensions between Hindus and Muslims intensified, with both communities vying for political power and influence in the post-colonial state. The Muslim League, led by Muhammad Ali Jinnah, advocated for the creation of a separate Muslim homeland, arguing that Muslims could not coexist peacefully with Hindus in a unified India. This demand for a separate state, known as Pakistan, gained traction among many Muslims, who feared marginalization and discrimination in a Hindu-majority India. The British government, facing growing pressure from both the Indian National Congress and the Muslim League, decided to partition India along religious lines. This decision, announced in June 1947, was met with mixed reactions. While some welcomed the creation of Pakistan as a fulfillment of their aspirations, others lamented the division of the subcontinent, and the communal violence that ensued. The partition was a chaotic and traumatic event. Millions of people were displaced, with Hindus and Sikhs migrating to India, and Muslims to Pakistan. The mass migration was accompanied by widespread communal violence, with countless lives lost and communities uprooted. The scars of partition remain deeply etched in the collective memory of both India and Pakistan. The partition also led to a territorial dispute over the princely state of Kashmir, a predominantly Muslim region ruled by a Hindu Maharaja. Both India and Pakistan laid claim to Kashmir, leading to the First Indo-Pakistani War from 1947 to 1948. The war resulted in a stalemate, with Kashmir divided between the two countries along a ceasefire line that continues to be a source of tension and conflict. The partition of India and the subsequent First Indo-Pakistani War had a profound and lasting impact on the subcontinent. The communal violence and displacement of millions of people left deep scars on both nations. The Kashmir conflict remains a major flashpoint, with both countries maintaining a significant military presence in the region. The partition also had a significant impact on the political and social development of both India and Pakistan. India, under the leadership of Jawaharlal Nehru, adopted a secular and democratic constitution, while Pakistan, under Jinnah's leadership, became an Islamic republic. The two countries embarked on divergent paths, with India striving for economic development and social reform, while Pakistan struggled with political instability and military coups. The legacy of the partition and the Kashmir conflict continues to cast a long shadow over the relations between India and Pakistan. The two countries have fought several wars and continue to engage in a tense and often hostile rivalry. The unresolved Kashmir issue remains a major obstacle to peace and cooperation between the two nuclear-armed neighbors. The partition of India in 1947 was a watershed moment in South Asian history. It led to the creation of two independent nations, but it also unleashed a wave of communal violence and displacement that continues to haunt the region. The partition and the subsequent conflict over Kashmir serve as a reminder of the challenges of nation building, the complexities of religious and ethnic identities, and the enduring legacy of colonialism. A shattered dream of unity. The assassination of Mahatma Gandhi. On January 30, 1948, the world was shaken by the news of Mahatma Gandhi's assassination. The apostle of non-violence, the architect of India's independence, and a beacon of hope for humanity was silenced by the bullets of a Hindu nationalist extremist. This tragic event, which occurred just months after India gained independence from British rule, shattered the nation's nascent unity, and left a profound scar on its collective psyche. Gandhi, revered as the father of the nation, was a towering figure in Indian history. His unwavering commitment to non-violence, his tireless advocacy for social justice, and his unwavering belief in the power of unity made him an icon not only in India but across the globe. Gandhi's philosophy of satyagraha, or non-violent resistance, inspired countless movements for civil rights and social change around the world. The assassination of Gandhi was a culmination of a series of events that had polarized Indian society in the aftermath of independence. The partition of India, which led to the creation of Pakistan as a separate Muslim homeland, was accompanied by widespread communal violence and displacement of millions of people. This upheaval unleashed deep-seated religious and political tensions, creating a fertile ground for extremism and violence. Nathuram Godse, a Hindu nationalist who blamed Gandhi for appeasing Muslims and for the partition of India, was the perpetrator of this heinous crime. Godse, a member of the Hindu Mahasabha, a right-wing Hindu organization, was radicalized by the communal violence that engulfed the country. He saw Gandhi's advocacy for Hindu-Muslim unity as a threat to the Hindu nation and decided to eliminate him. On the fateful day of January 30, 1948, as Gandhi was walking to a prayer meeting in New Delhi, Godse approached him and fired 3 shots at point-blank range. Gandhi, who had always eschewed personal security, fell to the ground, uttering his last words, "Hey Ram," meaning "O God." The nation was plunged into mourning, with millions of people across India and the world expressing their shock and grief at the loss of a beloved leader. The assassination of Gandhi had a profound and lasting impact on India. It shattered the fragile unity that had been forged during the independence struggle. The communal tensions that had been simmering beneath the surface erupted in full force, leading to further violence and bloodshed. The government, led by Jawaharlal Nehru, acted swiftly to quell the violence and apprehend the conspirators. Godse and his accomplices were arrested, tried, and executed. Gandhi's death left a void in Indian politics and society. His vision of a united, secular, and non-violent India was challenged by the forces of communalism and extremism. However, Gandhi's legacy also inspired countless individuals and organizations to continue his work for social justice and communal harmony. The Indian government, committed to Gandhi's ideals, enshrined the principles of secularism and non-discrimination in the constitution. The assassination of Mahatma Gandhi was a tragedy of immense proportions. It not only robbed India of a visionary leader but also dealt a severe blow to the nation's nascent unity. The event served as a stark reminder of the dangers of extremism, intolerance, and violence. However, Gandhi's legacy of non-violence, social justice, and communal harmony continues to inspire millions of people around the world, making him an enduring symbol of hope and inspiration. The assassination of Gandhi is a reminder that even the most revered and influential figures are not immune to the forces of hatred and violence. It is also a testament to the enduring power of ideas, and the transformative potential of non-violence. Gandhi's life and teachings continue to inspire individuals and movements across the globe, reminding us that even in the face of adversity, we can choose the path of peace, compassion, and unity. A critical juncture in Middle Eastern history. The Civil War in Mandatory Palestine. The Civil War in Mandatory Palestine from 1947 to 1948 marks a pivotal period in the history of the Middle East, characterized by intense conflict, significant geopolitical shifts, and profound human impact. The conflict's roots lie in the long-standing tensions between Jewish and Arab populations in Palestine, exacerbated by British colonial policies and the rise of nationalist movements. Following the First World War, the League of Nations granted Britain the mandate over Palestine, with a dual commitment: to establish a national home for the Jewish people while respecting the rights of the existing non-Jewish communities. This dual commitment laid the groundwork for inevitable conflict as both Jewish and Arab populations aspired for national self-determination within the same territory. The immediate catalyst for the Civil War was the United Nations General Assembly's resolution on November 29, 1947, which recommended the partition of Palestine into separate Jewish and Arab states, with Jerusalem under international administration. This plan was accepted by the Jewish community but vehemently rejected by the Arab leaders and surrounding Arab nations. The Arab rejection was rooted in the perceived injustice of the partition plan, which allocated a significant portion of land to the Jewish minority, and the fear of the creation of a Zionist state at the expense of the Arab population. The Civil War can be broadly divided into two phases. The first phase, December 1947 to March 1948, was characterized by sporadic violence and localized skirmishes. During this period, both Jewish and Arab militias engaged in attacks and retaliatory actions, targeting each other's communities. The situation escalated rapidly, leading to widespread fear and displacement among civilians. The second phase, April to May 1948, saw a more organized and intense military confrontation. The Haganah, the main Jewish paramilitary organization, implemented Plan Dalet, aimed at securing Jewish settlements and consolidating control over the proposed Jewish state territories. This period witnessed significant battles, such as the Siege of Jerusalem and the Battle of Haifa, resulting in large-scale displacement of Arab populations. The Civil War culminated on May 14, 1948, when David Ben-Gurion declared the establishment of the State of Israel. This declaration was immediately followed by the invasion of Israel by neighboring Arab states, Egypt, Transjordan, Syria, Lebanon, and Iraq, marking the beginning of the 1948 Arab-Israeli War. The transition from civil war to interstate conflict further complicated the situation, leading to prolonged regional instability. The outcomes of the 1947 to 1948 Civil War were far-reaching and continue to resonate in contemporary geopolitics. One of the most significant consequences was the massive displacement of Palestinian Arabs. By the end of the conflict, approximately 700,000 Palestinian Arabs had fled or were expelled from their homes, an event Palestinians refer to as the Nakba, or catastrophe. This displacement created a persistent refugee crisis and sowed the seeds for ongoing Israeli-Palestinian tensions. For the Jewish population, the establishment of the State of Israel represented the realization of the Zionist dream of a national homeland. However, this achievement came at a substantial human cost and set the stage for decades of conflict with the Arab world. The 1948 Arab-Israeli War that followed the Civil War entrenched animosities and led to further territorial disputes and demographic changes in the region. Internationally, the conflict drew significant attention and involvement from global powers, particularly the United States and the Soviet Union, each supporting different sides for strategic reasons. The geopolitical implications of the Civil War and the subsequent Arab-Israeli conflict played a crucial role in shaping Cold War dynamics in the Middle East. The 1947–1948 civil war in Mandatory Palestine was a critical juncture that reshaped the Middle East's political landscape. It highlighted the deep-rooted and complex nature of nationalist conflicts, the impact of international diplomacy and colonial legacies, and the enduring human consequences of war. Understanding this period is essential for comprehending the historical context of the Israeli-Palestinian conflict, and the broader regional dynamics that continue to influence the Middle East today. A defining moment in the Cold War. The Berlin Blockade. The Berlin Blockade, lasting from June 24, 1948, to May 12, 1949, was a defining event in the early years of the Cold War, highlighting the escalating tensions between the Western Allies and the Soviet Union. The blockade, a Soviet attempt to control all of Berlin by cutting off ground access to the western sectors, became a battleground not only for political ideology but also for the hearts and minds of the German people. Post-war Berlin was divided into four sectors controlled by the victorious Allied powers: the United States, the United Kingdom, France, and the Soviet Union. However, the city itself lay deep within the Soviet-occupied zone of Germany. By 1948, the escalating disagreements over Germany's future, the introduction of the Deutsche Mark in the western sectors, and the merging of the western zones into a single economic unit had exacerbated tensions. The Soviets viewed these actions as a threat to their influence and responded with the blockade. The blockade involved the closure of all land routes, railroads, canals, and highways, connecting West Berlin to the western-controlled zones of Germany. The goal was to starve the western sectors into submission, forcing the Allies to abandon their plans for a unified West Germany or, at the very least, relinquish control of West Berlin. The Western powers, however, were determined to maintain their presence in the city and safeguard its inhabitants. The most immediate concern was the survival of the over 2 million West Berliners, who were now cut off from essential supplies of food, fuel, and medicine. The Allies responded with a daring and unprecedented solution: the Berlin Airlift. Over the next 11 months, an armada of cargo planes, primarily American and British, flew around the clock, delivering vital supplies to the beleaguered city. The airlift, also known as Operation Vitals, became a symbol of Western resilience and resolve. The logistical challenges of the airlift were immense. Pilots flew in hazardous weather conditions, landing and taking off every few minutes at Tempelhof Airport. Ground crews worked tirelessly to unload and distribute supplies. The operation became increasingly efficient, with candy bombers even dropping sweets for the children of Berlin, lifting their spirits amidst the hardship. The airlift not only provided a lifeline to the city but also proved to be a propaganda coup for the Western powers. It showcased their technological prowess, organizational capabilities, and commitment to the well-being of the German people. The Soviets, realizing the futility of the blockade in the face of Western determination, finally lifted it in May 1949. The Berlin blockade and the ensuing airlift had far-reaching consequences. It solidified the division of Germany, leading to the establishment of two separate states, the Federal Republic of Germany, also referred to as West Germany, and the German Democratic Republic, or East Germany. It also deepened the divide between the Eastern and Western blocs, intensifying the Cold War rivalry. The blockade and airlift, however, also demonstrated the potential for cooperation and resilience even in the face of seemingly insurmountable odds. The collaborative efforts of the Western powers and the unwavering spirit of the Berliners became a testament to the enduring human spirit. The Berlin airlift remains one of the most remarkable feats of logistical and humanitarian aid in history, serving as a reminder of the importance of international cooperation, and the triumph of hope over adversity. In conclusion, the Berlin blockade was a pivotal moment in the Cold War, testing the resolve of the Western Allies and the resilience of the Berliners. The airlift, a testament to human ingenuity and determination, not only saved a city but also helped shape the geopolitical landscape of the post-war world. The events of 1948 to 1949 continue to resonate today, reminding us of the importance of upholding democratic values, defending human rights, and working collaboratively to overcome shared challenges. In the next chapter, we will cover the division of Korea, as well as the First Arab-Israeli War, and the creation of the Universal Declaration of Human Rights.